Alrighty guys, we're back for Esper Bounce, and this is an Edge of Eternities Standard Brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some Ranked. But first things first, we built this together over on the Twitch channel. Nice. How are we bouncing our cards back? Of course, all for Nurturing Pixie making the cut, all for Sunpearl Kirin as well. Bouncing important cards back to our hand like Stormchaser's talent, so that way we can get that otter token again. Or important cards like removal, couple Grim Baubles, 3 momentum breakers, 3 nowhere to run, all going to be great targets to go ahead and bounce back and recast again. But we know this nonsense very well. What's different about this deck list? We've got 4 Mischievous Mystics in here. It's a 2 mana 2/1 with flying. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. Nice, helping us go wide, and not the only way to help us go wide in here. We have 3 Cosmogrand Zeniths. It's a 3 mana 2/4. When you cast your second spell each turn, you get to choose one. Create 2 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, or put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Beautiful stuff. So how are we drawing that second card each turn for the Mystic, by the way? Well, we got 4 Cryogen Relics. 2 mana artifact. When it enters or leaves the battlefield, draw a card. For 1 in a blue, you can sacrifice this artifact, put a stun counter on up to 1 target tapped creature. Cool stuff. That should actually pair nicely with Kaito, Bane of Nightmares. Here on the top end, also a way to draw our second card with the 0 ability here, Surveil 2. Then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. How about Enduring Innocence for even more card draw? Works with all of our creatures in here and works well with the token generation too. How about 3 steps ahead to be able to copy important creatures like that Cosmogrand Zenith, but more importantly, just be able to actually counter things out of the opponent's deck list, right? Because everything is so powerful all the time. Got to do some rearranging for 3 steps ahead, of course. Most of the time, it's going to be a 3 mana spell, and sometimes it's also going to be a 4 mana spell. Or more, I suppose, right? The mana base should be pretty good overall, guys. We got Floodfarm Verge, got Godless Shrine, Watery Grave, and 3 starting towns as well. Alright, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, see how we do. Alright, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Should be pretty good, guys. Yeah. I think we landed on something nice. We'll see, though. We'll see, huh? Ooh, no white source. We can play most of our hand. And then even if we don't find a white source, if we just find more mana in general, eventually the Kaito 0 ability could help us find that white source. It's risky, but I'm going to try it. Yeah, I think we're fine. Also, there's probably a pretty good chance of just drawing into that white source anyways. Okay, archive from the opponent, probably synthesizer. Hey, there we go, Godless Shrine. Very nice. We're just going to go right into the swamp, though, so we can get the Mystic down right away on turn 2. Gonna be clay-fired bricks. Well, well, well. My nemesis, synthesizer, appears again. Honestly, man, we're in danger. So we'll see, we'll see. Let's get the 3rd mana down. Probably Kaito for the turn. Actually, Cosmogrand Zenith was quite the draw, huh? Maybe I just play that. 4th mana off the top would be crazy. Yeah, okay. Zenith. Yeah, that was a pretty good draw. Because, you know, Pinnacle Starcage only hitting Mystic. The other option would be Perilous Snare on the Zenith. Synthesizer right on time on turn 3. 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Another Zenith is actually terrific here, man. But eventually we actually have to cast second spells. Or draw again. You know what? Again, the opponent's tapped out. I'm just going to play this now, not wait for main phase 2, even though it's good practice. I think a lot of times when Zenith is on the board, it's actually... it would happen quite often where you'd play things main phase 1, right? Boost a wide board state or something. Oh, wow. They are going for the setup. So Momentum Breaker takes care of the first construct, which is great news, but can we actually get the second spell? No. Enduring Innocence, double white being held up here. The Nowhere to Run is a decent combat trick early on. The problem is 2 constructs next turn thanks to 2 synthesizers. Yeah, Nowhere to Run's going to miss for the rest of the game. But I still want to slip 6 through while we have it, I would say. Alright, yeah, so mana off the top would have been pretty huge here, guys. Give a double buff to our board state with the Zeniths would have been so good. Let's see what the opponent gets done on their turn. It's anyone's game, but I think it's heavily leaning towards the opponent with the double synthesizer. So Starcage only hits the Mystic, but they don't really mind because they're still getting 2 constructs on the ground to block the Zenith. Also, getting the flyer out of the air is really good for them too. Grim Bauble. All right, that is not bad at all. So I think, so Sunpearl bouncing Momentum Breaker, of course, and Grim Bauble, and then go wide with both Zeniths. Can we outpace their go wide strategy though? They find the 6th mana? Probably not. 6 mana, double down on a couple 3 mana artifacts. That would be pretty lucky for the opponent, right? Let me think this through, buddy. Let's see. Yeah, we don't want to swing. Although we could... No, the Zenith toughness will be a 6, so their constructs are still way too chunky. Grim Bauble only gets 1 down. So it's totally fine just to do this. And go wide. Momentum Breaker next turn should be good enough. They go ahead and activate the Maze Mind. Oh, they keep it on top. That's not good news, probably. Grim Bauble for funsies. Human. Like I said, anyone's game, but we'll see what they can pull off here. They kept it on top. I'm afraid of the 6th mana. Let's see it. 3 cards in hand, too. I still think it'd be pretty lucky for them to hit 2 artifacts. Wow, they pass it back, guys. And unfortunately, we do miss the 4th mana, so we won't have the boost from the Zenith. It's pretty brutal, actually. So, Momentum Breaker, they know this is going to come down. Maybe it's just going to be like a counterspell from the opponent or something. Yeah, even though we missed, we're still going to go Momentum Breaker before the swing. Although Kaito into the Kirin could have been good. We just don't know what's open here. Maze Mind Tome. Maybe they missed, guys. That's possible. They send 1 to the bottom. But if they missed, why did they keep 1 on top? 2 in the air. 3 on the ground. Both Zeniths are active. We don't want to lose 1 Zenith to the block because a Perilous Snare could exist. Zenith is the only thing keeping us here. This would have been a great full swing had we had 2 spells for the turn. They do block 1 of the 1/1s. It's going to be Spring-Loaded Sawblade for the Kirin. Okay. So, based on the Sawblade, Kaito probably would have been much better than the Momentum Breaker for the turn, right? Right, probably. Because it has Hexproof during our turn. They go for the Vault. They send a Maze Mind, and they look at the top 6 here, which is really good for them. So mana off the top now won't actually help us cast 2 spells because I played the Breaker too. So honestly, I could have played that last turn out much, much better. We are 13 cards in, only 3 mana so far too, so we're overdue for some land. There goes Season of Weaving. Wow. Holy cow, guys. What a top end for them. I don't see Season of Weaving too often. That's terrific, man. Cleans up everything except for the Zeniths, and then they restock the ground. Yeah, I don't see this too often in the synthesizer builds. Guys, this one really could have been anyone's. It really could have been, but unfortunately, it looks like synthesizer runs away with it again, and that's okay. It'll happen. No unblocked. Momentum Breaker was an okay draw, but without being able to do two things. Either way, we die next turn, so we might as well just play the Momentum Breaker. Yeah, even on a full block, they'll still have 4 9/9s, so they'll still have 18 damage getting through, even if they somehow miss removal for one of the Cosmogrand Zeniths. We'll still take the blocks, though. And drop the GGs, of course. Good game, opponent. Good game. Had we seen mana, I believe this would have been ours, actually. But also, I could have played that one turn out better with the Kaito. Actually, with the Kaito play, that's significant, guys, because we'd have the Momentum Breaker in hand. I guess this is in hindsight, of course. Sunpearl Swing. I guess, would we have been prioritized to ninjutsu the Kaito before? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Before the spring-loaded Saw Blades? Or would they have had priority, played the Saw Blades, and then we wouldn't have been able to Kaito anyways? I'm not 100% certain. Either way, not playing around the Saw Blades and just going for the Kaito probably would have been a much better turn. Because then with Sunpearl back in hand too, yeah, since we were missing mana, it could have been pretty good to maybe bounce a token off of the Zenith. They ended up cleaning up all the tokens anyways with the copy of the Star Cage. Now, there's a lot to think about there. Hopefully we see more mana this game. All right. See, I'm a little bit nervous about all these 3-drops just based on how it was last time, but we should probably keep this. It's not the greatest because it's a little slow when the opponent's going first, but it would be a pretty weird mulligan too, so yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and pause until the opponent shows up. All right, the opponent has arrived. Let's keep it. Mountain. Ooh, Demonic Ruckus. We don't really get to see that much anymore. That's going to be pretty fun. It's unfortunate that they went first, but oh, Boros. Okay, nice. Yeah, we haven't seen Boros auras in like forever. Sunpearl's pretty good, but we're going to go ahead and establish Mystic number 1, see if it survives. Nice. Maybe that was a Shard Mage's Rescue open then, probably. 3rd mana, they pass it back. Where are their creatures? Okay. Well, we should definitely try to draw into that mana, huh? And then also generate a 1/1 here. Maybe. Nice. Nowhere to run. We'll find mana, guys. Don't you worry. I believe. I believe in us. How much land do we got in here? We have like all the dual land. We had 3 starting towns, so that's 15 land. And then maybe 5 basics. Maybe we need more mana in here, guys. Although I might be miscounting too. Okay, lightning with Demonic Ruckus. Oh. Holy cow. Guys? Ow? I'm scared, bro. Okay, so okay. That was a lot all in one turn. Until your next turn. Okay, so thank goodness it's not until the end of your next turn. Right. Still, it's a 5/4. It's kind of hard to deal with. Oh, wow. Except Momentum Breaker. I was going to say it's kind of hard to deal with when we don't have more mana, but Momentum Breaker totally does it. Yeah, I'm sorry, opponent, but they do get 2 cards here off the Demonic Ruckus. Yeah, we drew really well for drawing so poorly. Okay. Yeah, the opponent's back down to 23 now. That's really funny. Come on, mana off the top. I'm not afraid to go up mana mid-video, but I thought we landed on something pretty good for the mana base when we built it on Twitch, so we'll see. Slick shot show off. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, dude, we're in danger. Just based on how explosive... Oh, my goodness. We actually died. Good game, opponent. Wow. I mean, I guess it was their 5th turn. So let's go double check mid-video here. See how much mana we actually have. I'm a little concerned after those games for sure. We have 22 mana actually. Yeah, I'm not going up to 23, I don't think. I think we're fine. Let's keep the ball rolling, guys. More mana in that last game, let's be real. I don't know if that would have helped us. I guess like one thing it could have helped with was keeping Nowhere to Run open, and that could have helped us deal with the Slick Shot show off on time. Like being able to actually Momentum Breaker and keep a Nowhere to Run open on our 4th turn. Okay, 3 mana. Okay, but now what's up with all the top end, right? Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. I've been having really weird games, man. Let's go with, I guess, Watery Grave makes the most sense here. It doesn't really matter, I guess. I was trying to think of what top decks and stuff would actually matter based between Godless Shrine or Watery Grave, but it doesn't really matter since we have the Floodfarm Verge for 2. Alright, Island. I guess that is actually pretty good. Based on the last couple games, at least. Keep Nowhere to Run open. Okay. Yeah, we should keep Nowhere to Run open just in case there's something important over there. For Dimir, they probably just pass it back. And then more mana. Okay, I guess I'm not terribly upset by this. The counterspell on both of these would be pretty devastating, but I'm gonna say Innocence, because if it doesn't get countered, then we get some extra card draw off the Zenith. Nice. And now if it gets like just normal popped, it comes back as an enchantment, which I don't see too much exile removal from Dimir colors. However, we do definitely see bounce, and they could have a pretty good tempo play here. Or like or the Drowner too could tap it down. They know where to run. Comes back as the enchantment. So that's actually pretty good, because enchantment should be difficult for Dimir to deal with. More mana, okay. Yeah, it's probably enough, game. That's probably enough for now. Let's go ahead and play the Cosmogrand Zenith next. Nice, it actually lands. We get some card draw here, which is huge for us, and we do see a Grim Bauble, and I guess if I would have tapped a little bit better, we could have played the Grim Bauble, but we probably still want a target. Kaito could be great. We definitely just start with the card draw on the Relic, though. Grim Bauble. Yeah, no target, but 2 Grim Baubles in hand. We can definitely just go for this, and I'll go for the humans, but we're definitely going to be tempting them into a board wipe here. Hard draw off the Innocence is terrific, though. I'll take the 2 to keep the Nowhere to Run open, even though I don't think we're going to even have a target. If it's Dimir control, I don't think our life total matters. We're seeing Mill as the win condition in control, so Get the 2 through. Beautiful. I guess at that point, too, we also have Relic's ability open. We probably don't want to do that. We'd rather bounce Relic back to hand. Mischievous Mystic. All right. I like that. Kaito swing, 5th mana. So Deadly Cover-Up's on its way, but more importantly, the 6 mana board wipe is on its way, the one that mills half of our library. Okay, opponent. Let me think this through, buddy. Getting Mystic down before the swing doesn't really matter because I don't plan on playing more until main phase 2. I think that we can bounce one of the 1/1s. Go for the swing. Let's do the ninjutsu. Yeah, we don't have to recast Zenith. Just get some extra damage through here with the Kaito. Down to 12. Now their board wipe doesn't hit planeswalkers, right? So then, now main phase 2, we go Mystic. Draw our second card for the turn off the Innocence. Kaito, nice. Okay. We don't have to keep Grim Bauble open, so we can play this out tapped. And then I think with second Kaito in hand, I think it's actually terrific just to go +1 on the Kaito.
I just hate a fair fight.
All right, 6 mana open and nice clean board wipe for the opponent, maybe. They only got 1 blue source on the board, though. Yeah, this game, we got to showcase a lot of the value, which is nice. Okay, that's not a board wipe. That's a Virtue of Persistence. Okay, Cryogen Relic. We can play the island successfully. See what we draw on the Relic. We're going to try to boost wide here with the Zenith. We do find a Pixie. Very nice. Pixie making an appearance is terrific news. Extra card draw, extra card draw. Stormchaser's talent. Oh, another Zenith. We already cast our second spell though, so. Alright, we're anticipating more spot removal, but I'm going to stick to this whole +1 concept with the Kaito, especially with second one in hand. Yeah, GG opponent, wow. No more removal in their hand is crazy business, right? Kind of feels like we got a little lucky there. 4 mana open. They were at 14. We had 13 about to swing in. Yeah, we didn't even have lethal yet. We had so much value, though. I wonder what was in their hand. Guys, while I have you here in the middle of the video, make sure you actually check out that description. We have the Discord link down there. We have the Patreon link down there. If you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. And also, guys, for the YouTube side of things, if you like the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. If you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing because it really does help out the channel. So thank you guys. Look at me, I actually remembered to say it in the middle of the video this time. All right, we keep this. Yeah, hopefully we can continue to showcase more of the value. Also, like, all 4 Pixies for a very good reason, huh? Ow, my face. Get the talent down. Right into Mystic, probably, especially with the Cryogen Relic in hand, too. More Dimir, but probably a different style of Dimir, then. Might be just Dimir Tempo. Dimir Aggro. Feed the Swarm. Nice, opponent. Very nice. Alright. I swing for 1. So, Feed the Swarm hits creature or enchantment, then they lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. I wonder what other enchantments they're seeing that makes the Feed the Swarm worthwhile for them. Also, what set was Feed the Swarm reprinted in? I see they're playing an older one, but I'm forgetting which one it's actually in. A Kaito of their own. Pretty scary, actually, guys. Yep.
Did I scare you?
Yep, this would have been a good one to go first, I would say. We'll see what we can pull off, though, because we can get some good swings at that Kaito. Maybe actually take it out. We can start with the card draw, but if we find a Grim Bauble... So we actually want Floodfarm, keep the black source open. If we find a Grim Bauble on the draw, then we can play it to boost the prowess. We'll have 5 on the board to take out the Kaito. We find a Floodfarm Verge, which isn't terrible. We should still take this swing at the Kaito all day, right? I think so. That way, if they have removal for the biggest thing, maybe we can still get the 1 through. Even so, they probably just go plus on the Kaito then to try to keep it around. Then pop the Mystic with something. Or just get some extra chump blockers around too. I hope that was an alright turn. It's nice that we have enough mana to go Sunpearl into the Relic though. That should be really good. Alright, we're going to take the chump while we have the chump. And I know I just said like we need to keep our creatures around, but they're going to have the flash blocker anyways. Yeah, take the chump while we have it. Going down to 10 could be a little bit sketchy here. Because when it comes time for the final push, all they got to do is drop a couple removal spells out of hand then. So they do end up boosting the Kaito to 2 loyalty anyways. And then 4 mana open. Sailor blocks 1. Nowhere to run at flash speed could definitely help. They don't know we have that in hand. We could start with the card draw. Let's see. Bounce Cryogen. Draw. Extra Fairy. Okay. I suppose this is fine to do. Yeah, do this before combat. Well, first of all, we'll see if it lands. It does. That's good. Cryogen Relic. Draw card. Extra 1/1. A lot of synergies, man. I like it. Really like the second Nowhere to Run versus what we're up against, guys. That should be really good. Alright. Full swing at the Kaito because we're anticipating spot removal and the chump. It's going to be Flood Pit's Drowner. Oh, crap. Okay, well, they'll have the chump and the tap here then, unfortunately. They can tap down the Mystic. So Kaito's going to go back up to 3. Not a terrible trade for us, right? It isn't. However, I suppose... if we pop it now, and then their chump blocker from hand doesn't actually kill the otter, we get to keep the otter around. Remember, Mystic is not actually untapping next turn. So yeah, popping the Drowner, Sailor can block, save the Kaito, but then we get to keep the otter. This is actually just terrific for us overall. We have significant card advantage, even though they have a Kaito that's been really good on their board state. So if they expect Kaito to die, they could tap down. They actually go up to 3, and this is going to be another scenario where we take the chump while we have the chump. Even though Kaito probably survives next turn just based on them having 4 mana, 2 cards in hand. Because Mystic doesn't untap, and Kaito needs to actually be hit full powered here, so... Alright, we can start with the Cryogen Relic, I suppose, right? Get some card draw. Oh, actually, guys, should have played a mana. That way, okay, if there is something on the stack, that way we could have kept 3 steps ahead open, too. Another Cryogen Relic. Yeah, most of the time, players wait till the very last moment to play cards anyway, so That means we can still get the 3rd mana down in time, and then maybe the counter spell. Maybe we can finally take care of this Kaito, and then once we do, we just have so much value. Looks like this is just happening. Kaito's out of the equation, guys. Maybe,
I'm really not used
I don't
to
know.
losing.
Should we play Enduring Innocence or just keep 3? I guess 3 steps ahead open, because we have so much value established on the board. If we can 3 steps ahead counter a second Kaito. More mana for the opponent. They have the Restless Reef swing. That looks like that's what they're going to go for. We do have a block. Nowhere to run. I think I'm gonna take that block. Still got an island open. It could be like a Spell Pierce. All right, let's see. Looks like that happens. And then, all right. While they're tapped out, we take care of that Restless Reef for sure. And they get a map token from, yeah, GG opponent. There's so much value over here, guys, for real. Like, once you actually get the ball rolling, it's crazy. By some miracle, you have to get to the point where the ball is actually rolling, though, which can be, you know, easier said than done. 31 minutes in. I'd love to end on that high note, but I think we have time for one more. And win or lose, we kind of did the thing, right? I feel like maybe I had better matches showcased on stream when we were building this, but at the same time, a lot of those matches were a little janky too, so it's really hard to say. Yeah, with all the extra card draw, 22 mana makes sense, but in a lot of these games too, like this hand, for example, it's going to be fantastic to see our 3rd mana. But yeah, we could easily draw into it. Right, yeah, we keep this. Oh, we don't have a turn 1, though, based on how the mana has lined up. Yeah, we don't really mind, though, do we? Opponent goes first. We could have a turn 1 Grim Bauble on the Godless Shrine. It's going to be Restless Reef. Wow. A lot of Dimir-style deck list today. All right, Spyglass Siren. Okay. Okay. This could be their revenge, huh? Oh, I love not having to worry about cut down anymore, guys. Man, that's really nice. I guess some people substituted it out though with stab and stuff, right? Let's go for that Mystic. Mystic, get down! Run! Huzzah, Mystic, you did it. You survived. Alright, yeah, we don't see stab very often at all, so I wonder what was open. Maybe just a bounce spell. Not worth the tempo for them that turn. Spyglass Siren on top. They do go for the swing. We just take the 2. Mana off the top. Come on. Come on. Mana off the top. Let's do it. Let's go. No, Mystic. No, why? Okay, it's going to be into the Flood Mod this turn. We do miss the mana off the top, unfortunately. Guys, while we have it, we should probably take care of the Spyglass Siren and also establish the Stormchaser's talent then too. Finding that 3rd mana is going to be essential, but do we want 23 mana in this deck list? And also, what do we drop at that point? There's the 2nd Spyglass Siren. We knew that they had this. We find the 3rd! Alright. Dude, what do I want to do? Establishing Innocence versus Dimir should be really good. Taking 2 is not the greatest. Mystic Stormchaser's talent is pretty good. I think it's Innocence, because we have to keep up pace, right? Oh, but a counterspell on the Innocence would be so bad. crap, guys. I really don't like running right into a counterspell, but I already took the 2 damage for the Godless Shrine. Let's just see what happens. It lands! Dude, nice. Holy cow. Do we get to keep it as an enchantment? Shoot the Sheriff on the Otter. Okay, yep, that makes sense. The 3 cards in the opponent's hand. At some point, they also have to find their value as well, which is definitely present in this style. We have a great swing. We could go down to 11. Sunpearl. Oh, wow. I would have loved all that. So we have the block. But would it be better to hold off? Probably not. Take the block while we have it, similar to the last game. That's probably fine. Up to 17. Innocence ready to draw some cards here. Should probably be the Mystic then. Hopefully we draw into the mana because we need another blue source. I'd love to establish that Stormchaser's talent. We do find mana. It's not a blue source, unfortunately, but I'm not mad about this. And I think we actually play the Momentum Breaker while we can, while the opponent's tapped out. I know it's just a Spyglass Siren, but the deck list is Esper Bounce. Eventually, we'll find one of our bounce pieces, right? And the Pixie has been hiding from us today, too, which is super weird. We do find another blue source. Thank goodness, bro. Holy cow. Right, so Kaito is fantastic here. Full swing in the air. Kaito comes down. Start with the card draw on the Relic, but probably just Kaito first. See what we do. If we go Relic first, we also would have gotten potentially a 1/1. Trade out the token. Get that extra Kaito damage through.
This is where things... Don't worry, Pom-Pom-chan. I've got this.
And our second card draw could be Kaito. We can establish the talent this turn instead of the relics. 2 cards open. Restless Reef open. Yeah, card draw off the Kaito, get the other Stormchaser's talent down and established, and maybe we can really push close to lethal next turn. I don't mind the Mystic though. Mystic number 2 should be really good. Okay, a 1/1, then we draw on the Innocence. Oh, Tidebinder. Oh, that's really good for them. Yeah, that's really good. That doesn't lock down the other Mystic, right? If an ability... That permanent loses all ability. It doesn't say all permanents of the same name, right? So we can still establish the other Mystic and try to go for that next turn too, right? Alright, Momentum Breaker is really good too. So with the other Mystic, if they swing at Kaito, we might actually just take the block anyways, because then our first Mystic will still be able to generate more. Looks like they're going to full swing at the Kaito probably. If they power up Restless Reef for the turn, which we could just let the... Oh, this could be really bad. Okay, nice. They actually missed the counter. More tapped land from the opponent. Maybe we could let the Kaito die. They do hold the Tidebinder back. Okay, it's not a terrible mill for us. I think I'll take the block because keeping Kaito around is just so much value. Keeping the Mystics, though, for the extra flyers in the air is really good value, too. It's all really good value, isn't it? It really is. But I think I'm going to keep Kaito around. Momentum Breaker takes care of the Tidebinder, which we'll start with. Push more damage with the plus on the Kaito. Mystic's back in the air. Yeah, this time I'll go plus. This time we'll get the Cryogen Relic down. And the opponent's tapped out, guys. I'm going to play all this before combat. without any worries. Also, I guess it could affect combat in some weird way with all the extra card draw and whatnot, right? Another Mystic is really good, huh? Get a great swing. Get 2 tokens to be able to chump if we want. They're like 1 mana short from powering up both Restless, right? Or 2 Restless. How much mana? 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess they only have 7. Yeah, they need much more. Okay, they do have a stab in the deck list, guys. Look at that. Yeah. All right. Taking care of the Mystic is great news for them. That was a lot of value, but they don't know we have another one in hand. They actually hold it all back, maybe in an attempt to be able to block the Kaito with the Restless Reef. More mana isn't terrible. Just based on how much card draw we have, right? So we start by drawing off of Innocence. We get the extra 1/1. Godless Shrine. We don't want to forget the Stormchaser talent's ability, too. I guess we don't have any instants or sorceries. Do we have any instants and sorceries in here? Stormchasers. Oh, yeah, we do. We have the counter spell 3 steps ahead. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a trade here. So we don't have that much damage, or as much damage as we would hope, right? So maybe just more card draw on the Kaito before combat could be pretty good. These are 4/4s, so it's going to trade regardless. They also have 2 cards in hand we don't know about. So no matter what, we have to like fully play this out. Honestly, dude, Enduring Innocence is totally fine. I might even play it this turn. Speaking of playing it this turn, Cryogen Relic boosts the Otter for an extra point of damage, which really could matter. And then we still have double white on the board for the Innocence, but we'll wait for that for main phase 2. All right, full swing. I accept this trade into the Restless Reef because that helps us get the Otter through. It's not tapped or anything, so... Okay. If it wasn't a trade, we'd have Momentum Breaker. The opponent's down to 4. Definitely looking for one of their board wipes, maybe, if they have it. Sometimes Dimir Tempo doesn't have top-end board wipes. Sometimes they do. And then hopefully we'd be able to restock our hand really nicely after the board wipe, but we'll see. Also, we have 4 flying power. They're going to go ahead and tap down that Mystic, so less flying power then, right? And it's a good blocker. 4 mana open, 2 cards left in hand. Kaito. Okay, but it's not a creature on our turn. Looks like they'll go for the tap then. So we need to push 4 through, so that means all we got to do is drop the Momentum Breaker full swing at the opponent's face. Because we already got the 4. Actually, I didn't pay attention to the draw because the opponent was tapped out and we knew the win condition, right? We knew how to win, but if we didn't and we needed more damage pushed through, the Zenith was a crazy draw because we could have played that first, then Momentum Breaker, then boosted. We could have potentially hit for 7 damage there, which would have been fantastic. Yes, now we're talking. We really showcased the value of the deck list. Let's go ahead, talk about it here a little bit. Esper Bounce. Yeah, the games have been weird, but all of the games have been weird. I can't tell if it's just how I'm piecing these deck lists together, and like our curves are just awkward, or if just everything recently is awkward. I have no idea. I know some of you guys have been letting me know in the comments that you've been drawing really back and forth games with your mana. Like some games you're just in desperate need for more land like we were today. Other games you're flooding out ridiculously. And that usually we just say, well, that's Magic the Gathering. But it's been so oddly consistent recently. It's just been weird, you know? Yeah, so let me know in the comments, has that also been happening to you just like recently? All right, Esper Bounce. Cosmogrand Zenith. I wouldn't craft the fourth one for this. I like 3 of them in here, and we saw how terrible it actually is to only see our top end, and we don't even have that much top end in here, guys. We only have 6 3-drops and a couple Kaitos, which can also kind of be considered a 3-drop too with the ninjutsu. So it's kind of super weird that some of those games, that's all we had in hand at like the beginning and everything. A lot of it ended up working out though, which was really nice. 22 mana does feel about right, especially with all the extra card draw packed in between the Relic, the Innocence, and the Kaito. Card draw on 3 steps ahead, potentially too. What's neat about 3 steps ahead is the bottom ability at instant speed can work on the opponent's turn with the Mystic, right? Second card each turn. So you can potentially generate an extra fairy on the opponent's turn with the 3 steps ahead, which is nice because you can't do that with the other stuff in here. Stormchaser's talent literally just in here as a permanent that's terrific to bounce back and get extra otters on the board, but the level 2 could potentially pick up 3 steps ahead out of the grave, which is not bad, especially if you use like 3 steps ahead for the middle ability to copy something like a Zenith. Guys, the deck list is more than capable of just significantly popping off after just a little bit of setup. Now, how often can you get that setup is the question. Go ahead, put it on the do not craft list. The mana base is ridiculously expensive, and then also the rest of the deck list is relatively expensive too, with a good chunk of rares and a good chunk of mythics. Let's actually piece this together real quick. A lot of uncommons too. Okay. Yeah, you know what? That's a healthy chunk of uncommons, but the second you put the mana base over here, which of course can be used in other deck lists, but I mean, come on. All of a sudden, that's pretty expensive. Maybe you could base this one on your collection. I think that this is definitely a fun way to put Esper Pixie together, right? Nurturing Pixie hid in the deck list. I think if we saw this a little bit more today too, maybe we could have had some more consistent games. Remember, it's a return target non-fairy, so it can't do fancy things like bouncing itself and whatnot. And at that point too, it can't bounce the tokens on the Mystic, although I don't know why you would want to do that Oh, I guess for the extra counter, right? If you want that +1/+1 counter. Yeah, you can't bounce the fairy tokens, but still, that's totally fine. What you really want to bounce are your amazing spot removal, right? We have 8 pieces of spot removal that loves to get bounced back to hand. Stormchaser's talent. Cryogen Relic is crazy in the bounce deck list, guys. It's really good. Cryogen Relic's actually one of the reasons why we loved seeing our 4th mana. That way we could do multiple things on the same turn, and one of those multiple things being the Relic, right? So I guess there's like, you could always copy the Relic with 3 steps ahead, get card draw that way. That just doesn't seem that great though, right? But it's an artifact, so that is an option, I suppose. You can copy Grim Bauble and use it as removal on the 3 steps ahead too, because that's an artifact. So that's something, I suppose. But really, if you're using the copy ability on the 3 steps ahead, probably want to be like Cosmogrand Zenith, or at the very least a Mystic or something too. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of the bounce side of the Esper Bounce kind of just hid in the deck list today. We didn't really get to see a lot of that. Other than that, we saw a lot of the other synergies. So we saw sometimes too where the double white and Enduring Innocence is pretty greedy, but it's not terrible. If we do some rearranging real quick in the mana base, you can see we're actually leaning blue, but we still have an even split between islands and plains, and that's for a good reason, because we have all 4 Floodfarm Verge originally tapping for white as well. That's important. Let me do this rearranging so I don't confuse myself here. So Floodfarm Verge powers up with all 4 Godless Shrine, all 4 Watery Grave, all 3 plains, and all 3 islands as well. So usually this is just going to be a terrific Azorius dual land. But it also makes sense to lean this far into white, even though we're leaning a little blue, because of the double white source on the Enduring Innocence. Additionally, there's a lot of moments where you need a white source open, so you're casting all of your other things, and the last land that is open is a white source for like a pixie or something. So hopefully the mana base does actually make sense. If the Verge tapped for blue, I still think it would work well, just because of all the shock lands in here. And then starting town being all of them is terrific too. Honestly, the The colors in the mana base felt terrific to the point where I could see just 2 starting towns working pretty well too. So anyways, guys, yeah, put it on the do not craft list. Go ahead, craft a little less based on your collection. Actually, probably don't craft at all, just base it on your collection. I've been putting everything on the do not craft list just because with how explosive the meta is, it just doesn't feel worth it, right? Because if you spend all of your wild cards only to get obliterated by Tifa for the 40th time in the row, it feels pretty bad actually. So I would just say base everything on your collection. Maybe things will start to settle down a little bit in standard, and then then maybe I mean at that point maybe you'll have a lot of wild cards saved up. Maybe you can craft the explosive deck lists instead, right? So yeah, I don't know. I would base it off of your collection for sure, even though it feels like there's just so much value packed in. And when we played it on Twitch too, we had just these crazy games where just yeah, value town for days. It was yeah, it was a lot. Actually, to the point where sometimes it feels like it's a control deck list. When you have this split between like aggro control, we just call that tempo, but it doesn't really feel that much like a tempo deck list. I'd say more bounce for the opponent's things would help it feel like tempo, but then also more counter spells too. All right, guys, enough rambling. Let me know what you thought of the deck list down in the comments for sure. And I think that's everything. All right, yeah, if you made it this far in, y'all are champions. I will see you in the next video.